And the nerves are out. But the fear is alive and well for the European fans, because that was an incredible game one from LYON.
Don't be a game one, Andy Drakos. I've been there as well. You know, G2, they've already reverse swept at this very tournament, and they're not even that far into this series anyway. So I expect some alterations from G2, especially for bottom lane. It was a bit surprising to pick that Ashe Seraphine into the Ezreal Karma, and it certainly did not perform. I think EU fans will probably already at this tournament start to have some Seraphine trauma, whether it is Hans piloting it or whether it is Labrov highlighting it. So I do expect them to take some more proactive approach to this draft.
And I'll say I'm just never been more happy to see Fearless. They can't pick it. You know, we can move on. We can move past that portion of this best of 5.
I think there's a strong desire to see Labrov on a playmaking champion. That last game really was a slow bleed through the bottom lane, and then Saint and Dhokla found angles in team fights. So we'll see what direction they take here. As it appears, it's LYON with the first pick.
Varus, of course, a flex, nice to have into BrokenBlade and Hansama, generically strong 2v2 bottom laner even after the hits, but also has some really strong topside matchups. So that's something that G2 are going to have to contend with as they debate what their options are in this first rotation. Do they want to prioritize that bot lane 2v2 more, or will we see a continued priority on the topside picks?
Yeah, and G2, like, they can hold their counter pick really long here. BrokenBlade has a lot of specialty stuff like Yasuo and such. So we'll see where the flexibility ends up on that Varus and what sort of counter picks they end up going for. But we are going to get the Ziggs, the mage bottom lane now. Draco's hands on his head already.
Look, there's been a lot of times since I've seen Hans play a mage. You know, I remember the Vladimir in 2018. I'm very nervous about the Ziggs, especially against Berserker, who's had some all-star performances on this pick. That said, Ziggs, very powerful in the meta. On paper, if I turn the nameplate off, this is a fine first pick. I'm just nervous to see if the execution is going to be there for Hansama and Labrov.
And one of the biggest things about mages to me is that they give your support that playmaking opportunity that people are looking for Labrov. Labrov, if you're looking at the entire tournament overall, has definitely outclassed Isles. And so him getting more time to roam with a Nautilus here, you know, whatever SkewMond decides to pick to pair with the Nautilus there could be just what G2 needed to get back into the series.
And we need to remember that this is also G2, so they might flex that Ziggs to the mid. It was originally a mid lane champion. It's not guaranteed that this is Hansama. I think LYON wouldn't be surprised by that either, as they're the team that flex picks like crazy. We know for sure that Varus is top or bot. We know it's a flex pick.
I will just say, saying after every single G2 pick that it might be a flex pick qualifies you to be an LEC caster. It's like the #1 thing that you have to hit every time they pick anything.
Is it the Nautilus jungle?
Nautilus mid, maybe. Shout out Doinby. Shout out whatever MSI was that we all did that for a little while. But Lee Sin, the debate here, we've already seen LYON Varus, which if it is the 2v2, is pretty powerful in the early lane, but the Lee Sin, a big playmaker for Inspired.
It's a big power pick this tournament, but it's also a pick that I'd say fans of both of these teams don't love seeing their jungler on. Inspired loves to be cool and calculated, and I feel like Lee Sin is a champ that just has to take 50-50 skirmishes and outplay you in order to get an advantage, and that's usually not Inspired's game. SkewMond had a similar game on it as well, so we'll see what happens here as they also take the Cassio, which was the mage counter that other people have been taking into the Ziggs. So those are technically two flexible champions, but it's very unlikely we see an AD bot now, Kobe.
Yeah, with 2 protection bans for the Cassio as well. So they can just ban away the Syndra and follow up caps with extra protection here for the mid lane.
Debate now, getting those extra mid lane bans out. And I will say, Stats team was quick to correct me. I might be a doubter of the mages, but on Ziggs at least, Hansama is 3-0. Played it back in sometime in the early 2020s. It's not the 2018 Vladimir that I'm lamenting and looking at his stats page now about. So a little bit more comfort there. But with double AP, as you've highlighted, we are looking to see a little bit more physical damage in the top lane, setting us up for a potentially more volatile top lane 1v1.
All right, you get the Vayne out. That kind of opens it up for some other options of some blind picks as well. So definitely kind of hinting at the possibility of the bottom lane Varus getting a little stronger.
Yeah, they need to find good AD damage in top jungle. BrokenBlade has a lot of quirky picks here because the Vayne would have been more of the obvious ones. The Jace would have been more of an obvious one. Those are obviously banned away. And we still know that Varus is a flex. Although seeing with what is available, I'm expecting that Varus to go bottom lane into the Ziggs. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Getting some Stressful hovers here that I think are entirely fake. The Poppy band away, I do like to see that. Does make a lot of sense up against Elise and Leona. Really shuts down their ability to make anything happen.
Should be an
If
80
they
jungle
lock
pick here.
this in and this Nautilus is a flex,
No. It's an 80 jungle pick right here.
Surely.
Almost has to be.
Sure. It is. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Pantheon's a great pick. I mean, the Jarvan, the Xin are already gone. The Vi's banned out. The Lee Sin's there. It's just another one of the Sundered Sky junglers.
And it's not Camille, but it does give you a lot of the same immediate CC setup if Ziggs is in the proximity in the area, and it gives you another kind of semi-global long-range ability to maybe punish whatever side laners do come out from the side of LYON.
Exactly. You already have Ziggs, so you can join fights from pretty far away, and Pantheon ultimate as well, so lots of potential there for affecting side lanes very quickly, and you already have very good wave clear as well.
If this Gnar's locked, I think BrokenBlade's Yasuo is an inevitability. They're just okay with that matchup, it feels like, unless BrokenBlade has something else cooked.
It does point towards that direction, and they were more worried about the Vayne, as we were talking about, so let's see what they're going to follow it up with. Some engage. They definitely do want some sort of playmaking here from Saint. He definitely performs very well on champions with mobility, with dashes. Ahri is one of his favorites, but he's also quite good on the control mages. And Viktor versus Cassio, you have the laser range. You just want to farm it out and scale up to be a big powerhouse in the team fights.
And we have some flexibility here from the LYON team comp overall. Varus
there it is.
Can be powerful in the late game. Viktor that power, but still a lot of playmaking. Now, the Yasuo, if it is locked in, a strong lane matchup, and we've seen BB did dominate Doran, but of all of the potential counter picks, Yasuo is a very sharp champion. He does some things really well and some things really poorly, so if anything goes wrong in his top side, you're stuck with a Yasuo in the top lane, which is not a good vibe, is not a good feeling. He has to dominate.
High risk. That's never stopped G2 in the past. Hansama mages, BrokenBlade Yasuo, but they're ready to throw down. I mean, the most comfortable picks I see in this comp for G2 is the SkewMond Pantheon and Labrov Nautilus. They have very strong mid-jungle. They have a lot of playmaking from their support jungle, and I think that's how they're going to try and play this game.
And they do have some good knockups for BrokenBlade from the bottom lane. Not just the Nautilus, but also the Satchel Charge. Deceptively good opportunities for them to set up BrokenBlade later into the game too. And this counter pick is a good counter pick for a reason. You get to run down the minion line basically onto the mini Gnar and try and force those plays. And you have a Pantheon jungle, Drakos. Level 6, he can ult in there. They can make that gank guaranteed happen. So Dhokla has to play very safe on that Gnar. Luckily for Dhokla, he's coming up a series. He had a huge Mega Gnar game, and we'll see if he can stand up to the counter pick that they must have been looking at and knowing is coming, especially seeing so much AP already on G2, just playing right into this Yasuo.
And he did in game one, crucially. Now we head into game two, see if he can weather the storm once again. Of course, Renekton wasn't a counter pick, or it was kind of the counter pick, but it was just supposed to survive. This time around, it's more of the hard counter, the Yasuo that comes out against the Gnar. But if Dhokla can survive once more, doing something that Doran could not, it's an impressive feat and gives a ton of confidence for LYON in this series.
Yeah, you always honor your top laners that are going into an annoying range matchup. He didn't go that far down, and then he still had big impact in those team fights at those dragons, getting into the mix of it. So let's see, can G2 bounce back here? They have been rewarded previously here with the counter picks from BrokenBlade, and SkewMond on his Pantheon could be huge.
Another quick point I have on Dhokla is he's almost the opposite archetype of player that usually get prioritized. Like, so many players that come in nowadays are just these like incredible laners who then struggle to side lane and team fight effectively. But Dhokla, to his own admission, is a very average laner in most situations, but he knows how to win the game. He plays side lanes well, he recovers in game well, and he team fights great. So I think that's why LYON is okay saying, okay, we're going to blind pick you the Gnar. We know the Yasuo is coming. Even if you fall behind, we trust you.
Yeah, and so you see there, Inspired is splitting the map because of the counter pick. So this is their choice to deal with the Yasuo counter pick. BB has information, though. You saw that the ward from G2 was placed after the LYON ward, so they saw it. Plus, they know that the other ward is there, and BrokenBlade off that push, he is kind of hovering back. He kind of knows this is happening.
He's a nervous man. And look, we saw the head-to-head between Inspired and Caps, a ton of history domestically, a lot of best of ones, but in the best of fives, Inspired has the edge courtesy of that 3-0 that we saw at MSI last year. And now Isles getting things kicked off, extending the trade just a little bit. It's common for Berserker, so we know we will be seeing a bit more poke. SkewMond on the way in. Aegis Assault for movement speed, looking to lock up Berserker. Berserker no cleanse. Importantly, Isles trying to stop anything else from going down, but a flash isn't even going to save him. First blood for G2 Esports.
Beautiful gank for G2 for SkewMond with perfect information. They knew Inspired was up on the top side, counter jungling, so they had, wait a second,
Isles. TP back in, they're hoping to get a bit more.
That's a slow TP.
Empowered Spear is going to be there. That's a very slow TP, but now Inspired's hoping to find the double. Berserker on the way, and they'll at least get one. Flash out from SkewMond. Minefield to slow them down. If SkewMond gets out, it's still a good trade, but if he doesn't, they're in trouble. Hansama body blocking the Q, going in. SkewMond getting lower. The Aegis Assault up in the nick of time, just barely makes it out.
That's so huge for G2 right there. Hansama still has his TP as well. Almost a disaster for LYON there as they attempt to extend the play, because the beginning of that play was pretty poor. They know they're getting map split on, and they take very aggressive 2v2 trades without combat summoner spells, so a good start for that G2 bot lane and SkewMond.
Hansama sent bot lane to catch the wave. Now it's Labrov wandering into mid, but Inspired is here first. 3v2 in the favor of LYON. Does have the flash, wants to hook to the wall to escape, but LYON are just going to respect it. Good read from Isles to be exactly where Labrov was, setting up Saint now to push out this wave, and an excellent sidestep on the hook.
Yeah, so nice. Okay, so SkewMond has a lot of options now, especially with Labrov still mid. I mean, it's only Isles giving Saint the confidence here to stay into mid.
Inspired waiting over the wall, starting to walk towards red, immediately turns his attention elsewhere, trying to cover his mid laner. Saint getting lower and lower. Cap says to be careful. Nice back step. Not sure if he spotted Inspired, but manages to hold on. Forces the flash out from Isles to escape. G2 getting the better of LYON in that brief exchange.
Yeah, Inspired was finishing up the Raptors there, so he's in the area to save the play as well. And they get the flashes out though, so both supports with no flashes now, definitely very vulnerable, but we have to look at SkewMond and how he continues this game, because I do like that call. Go for the first blood on bottom side, really get them snowballing, and it was just after Labrov and Hansama had gotten a great trade. They landed the hook combination into Satchel Charge combo, into Explosive Bomb there from Hans, and that is definitely what they want to see.
And really accelerating the pace of this game. I mean, at the time of that mid gank, SkewMond was at 12 CS, but he'd clearly impacted the map. He'd helped win the bot lane and didn't quite get Saint's flash, but still managed to draw them a lot of pressure there.
G2 doing what they can. Of course, both supports leaving so much means a lot of solo XP for Berserker and Hansama. One of the nice things about the lethality Varus is he uses level ups and skill points almost as well as mages do. So normally we'd see a big discrepancy. Level 3 in Q for Hansama is a big damage spike. It's not a big damage spike for a lot of AD carries, but it is for the Varus, which helps keep this push battle pretty close.
Yeah, as we see it directly in the middle of the lane, and both supports hovering on their brush because they know the junglers could have a huge influence, but they've got vision.
Slow one. Inspired is here, but it's a tough start.
Q3 ready to go. He's in the Mega still, though. Inspired on the way up. SkewMond, though, such a low health bar.
Whoa!
And this means LYON are taking the fight. Level 6 for BrokenBlade. Hoping to get something back. Stacking the Q3 up. Needs to lock up Dhokla. He flashed backwards. BrokenBlade is nasty with it. Are you kidding me? Dhokla, though, wants to turn it back. Has the advantage. BrokenBlade running for his life. He just can't dance around those autos. And it's Dhokla who strikes back.
The teleport was a bait. Dhokla had just a bit of rage left on that Mega Gnar that landed the CC to set up Inspired.
That is one hell of a wallop on the arrival of the teleport, just the remnants of the Mega Gnar coming in, and that surprised them a bit. Plus the timing of Inspired was right there at the arrival. So Dhokla goes back as he's about to transform into Mega, and then look at the bar as it's ticking down, coming back from the fountain. He still barely has the Mega.
And look at the vision as well. Like now Inspired's in vision as they're already stunned, so they're completely committed to the play. They managed to shut him down early, but credit to BrokenBlade for turning this back into a 1-for-1.
Yeah, clean from BrokenBlade. Gets the combination onto Inspired. He went for the level 6, focus on the minions, gets it, gets the... Wait,
we're not done. Another keyblade there. The wallop is there, though. Dhokla didn't use ult in the previous fight. BrokenBlade's getting dunked on! Once again, he has been broken!
Big Dokes with the Gnar, building on the Gnar game that he had a couple games ago. He was already down. BrokenBlade had the kill from the last fight. Now 2-0-1. No TP on the Yasuo. He's going to be able to shove that in. He's going to lose a whole nother wave and try and snowball this Gnar game.
And for the second game in a row, it's the counter pick. It's supposed to be the strong lane for BrokenBlade, and initially it looked all right, but it is so quickly falling apart. Look at that XP chart. Pulling further and further ahead, almost a full level over BrokenBlade in that top lane 1v1.
It is a bloodbath. North America versus Europe here, and they are throwing hands. Both junglers getting very active, and now you have SkewMond level 6. Where is this Pantheon ult going to go? Everybody still has flashes basically on LYON, save for their support, of course, and mid lane is the battlefield.
Hold that thought. I'm watching the replay. There's two fights happening at the same time. We can see the 1v1, but Labrov now with backup from his jungler wants to make this happen. Nice flashback coming from Hussein. Excellent mechanics from Inspired. Gets Labrov low. Isles also on the way in, and now it's G2 on the retreat. TP coming in. Dhokla on the side. All 5 of LYON have arrived to the play, and G2 forced to run back to their own jungle. Nowhere left to go. It's the Varus out of nowhere with the steel chair.
Yeah, even Berserker teleports mid and uses the flash with the ulti to help secure the extra kill. LYON snowballing.
Everyone on LYON assembles in mid lane to make that happen. 1.3K is the advantage now. All BrokenBlade can get back is a single plate as Inspired turns his sights on the Grubs.
Everything going in the favor of LYON. BrokenBlade has to be careful about stepping forward, uncertain about how many members are still lurking on the top side of the map. Isles starting and stopping that recall. We look back at this play. G2 overcommitting. We're not ready for the response.
I mean, the Viktor ult into the Inspired kick just chunks them and buys enough time for the rest of LYON to arrive.
Yeah, I was looking for a good angle for the Caps ulti, but Inspired did the early kick, and so Caps never really got a good, angle for his ult early on, and then at this point, it's just way too late because they've already chased him down. And so with the Pantheon ultimate being used that we were looking for, it is again going the way of LYON with the early pressure. Dragon, though, for G2, they're going to be able to claim it this time around.
Should be theirs, as Inspired had to buy items, go back through his jungle, and the lanes reset. So good job by G2 to still read the tempo of the game and know what they can take.
But it's LYON building that gold advantage, something we've seen them do before. Willing to sacrifice Drakes, willing to sacrifice a lot of objectives just to get the gold in their favor. Often amounts in a lot of these stronger team fights, and you can see G2 have the idea of how they want to play their composition, but can't get all those cooldowns synced. And if one of them goes awry, they don't really have the damage to burst out that member. The extended plays still very heavily favoring LYON, especially until Caps gets that first item completed. The Cassio damage just really not there.
Yeah, everyone on LYON, though, does need to make sure to stay calm and play on the right timers. Just because a few fights went their way, it can just snap back, especially now that Dhokla has this 250 gold bounty. If he gets a little bit crazy, he can get shut down right away when he's in Gnar. And you can even see that Labrov is right up there looking for a fight.
Dhokla about to go mega. Isles in the area, though. Inspired is also on the way. It's a disaster for G2. Everybody from LYON is once again right where they need to be.
Team play for LYON and Mega Gnar, Drakos. Mega Gnar again. G2 decide to engage on it. Now LYON following the play.
Quick stun. Inspired and SkewMond take the same angle on the blast cone. SkewMond's still going to throw a spear on the way out, but it is a 2.5K gold lead. Game 1 felt bloodless until the late game. There was not a lot of action, but LYON have upped the pace of this game and are looking even more dominant.
Absolutely. I feel like G2 were the first ones to go for that early gank, and then since then, LYON has just been matching the pace that G2 had early. Inspired now trying to get some of that experience back while pushing SkewMond out of the jungle to steal his red. And the LYON map play has just been exceptional with the way they've been moving around.
G2. I will say, I do like Ziggs scaling more than Lethality Varus.
Yeah.
Now, after Lethality Varus has been nerfed so many times, we'll see if Hansama, now getting his Blackfire Torch, on his first item here, can this Ziggs damage make one of those long follow-up plays?
Yeah, and Coinbase Gold Round, you can see 700 more gold just from kills for Dhokla with that 3-0-3 score already. 900 gold lead overall.
And sometimes comfort just better than counter picks. Again,
yes, sir.
G2 hopefully still have their head in this game. If not, they'll be thinking about that first play that went awry, the moment that counter pick fell apart. They're still trying to get active on the map, but as they fall further and further behind in gold, the angles, the options get more and more limited.
And their angles are looking towards mid right now. Everybody from G2 was hovering, triple control wards from them, and Saint smells it so much he's all the way back to his secondary tower until Isles gets here to help defend him on the timer there. LYON remaining controlled. I think Inspired's timing has been quite good this game as well. Him going to follow up on these plays, Talk about timing as well, like every second counting on that topside play when Gnar from Dhokla had just barely, the last second of it expiring, just as Inspired also gets there for that teleport return play. These small timings have really made big differences.
I mean, there's so much trust involved in that play, right? That Dhokla is very confident he'll go in on Mega because Inspired is spending all that time, and we know how much he cares about efficiency. I thought it was really interesting. We heard Inspired say that he really trusts his laners at this international event. He said last year on FlyQuest there were times, especially as the team was kind of falling apart at Worlds, that every lane was on fire and he felt like he had to flip the game. But here, he feels like he can just make the right play, and we're seeing that calm play and that trust prove itself so far in this G2 series.
That trust really paying off, because remember, it was difficult for these laners at a lot of the earlier stages of this tournament, a lot of those early best of fives, but now they're sitting pretty incredibly comfortable in this game too.
Sonic
Wave gonna contest. Q3 ready to go for BrokenBlade, not gonna get the angle! He's dizzy, he can do nothing! Big Dokes dunks him down once again!
That's beautiful, that was perfect. Dhokla and Inspired, who cares about the wind wall? Another one for Dokes.
Nice juke there from Inspired going in, and BrokenBlade down on this pick that has been focused so heavily. Another counter pick foiled.
He's too big, guys. Please, take it. Please make him smaller. The Dokes is too big. Please have mercy.
It's because BrokenBlade gained so much size from the T1 series that Dhokla is just able to. It's an infinitely stacking buff, right?
Yes. They're just going back and like Heartsteel, Mundo, Tank Engine, whatever. They both just keep getting larger. But unfortunately, Dhokla very far ahead, looking like the much bigger Dokes on this particular one. As G2 still setting up for these picks, looking for these angles. You guys highlighted it well in draft. You have the Pantheon. You have Labrov on the Nautilus. There is a world where you can find these quick picks, but it's really a credit to LYON that they haven't given any of those angles to G2.
Yeah, and I think if we think about the way this game will scale, Saint is actually a very important player in this game because it's very heavy physical damage for LYON. So if we just forecast it out to late game, having strong AP damage will be very important in how G2 will able to kill him. But also, like, LYON with this 3,000 gold lead, I don't love that they're just giving over the second Drake. They clearly have a lot of confidence in their ability to play with the gold lead, but G2, you should take those 2 Drakes for sure.
Happy to fight for it. I imagine the third Drake is we'll see a little bit more of a contest.
Yep.
And to your point earlier, with Mountain Soul potentially on the board, even if G2 don't have a true tank, it will still be really valuable against that single AP threat, just to up those baseline resistances. Caps playing with a lot of respect here. There's no semi-globals on the side of LYON, but they've been so diligent in finding these moments, these opportunities, that he's still just going to back away on the top side.
Yeah, I think it's just a hover play because they don't have eyes on the Pantheon, so they don't know if that's going to come in. So ensure that this Viktor that you said is going to be so critical, and I 100% agree, is going to be able to safely take the side.
But I also really love what they did there, giving the gold to Saint's Viktor. Like, Dhokla was far enough ahead, he could have taken the first turn and continued to snowball. But they know, like, okay, the Viktor is going to use the gold better than the Gnar, so if they have the choice, let's give it to Saint, and they did so.
Really comfortable position for LYON. Again, the third Drake, really the only thing that feels like they have to contest. Everything else, they can take their time. They're in such a comfortable spot. The plays that they've made on their own have been good. The plays that they have punished from G2 when they've been over-eager have also turned in their favor. So with a 4K gold advantage, with the Herald falling uncontested, LYON set up to dominate in this mid-game. It's on G2 to look for those little angles, those tiny moments where they can pick off a key member on the side of LYON. Dhokla, Inspired, Saint, all rocking those bounties on their heads. Potential targets for G2 to try and take down.
Yeah, and I think they really should try and focus on a way to inhibit the income from Saint. Like, especially if they can take him down, take away his flash or something, make it harder for him to farm. The Viktor scaling definitely is paramount.
Yeah, they're also not even pushing that aggressively yet. LYON really just trying to play on the right timers. Dhokla knows he can kind of zone BrokenBlade off. And even in the LCS, LYON would freeze more waves than kind of any other team. There'd be a lot of games where they would just intentionally slow the pace of the game down, even if they had a gold advantage. So, like you said earlier, Drakos, I really expect them to fight that third Drake, but they don't need to continue to make crazy plays because they're confident in their ability to win team fights.
No, and happy to potentially expose G2 to risk by forcing them to come up and respond to these waves. You see Isles already on the way down. If they can chip away at a few of those key cooldowns from G2, leverage some of the advantage they have to take a bit more space as they're doing now. Zenith Blade ready to go. Q flash forward. Inspired looking for a bit of setup. BrokenBlade has to flash over the wall. Labrov not able to do anything. It's the R flash from Inspired. Again, the mechanics are too damn clean.
I guess they can also just do that. So they're confident in that play. Inspired I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your Lee Sin game. He is playing.
Where's the apology
so
for him, Jatt?
Print it out, I'll sign it, I'll give him my social security number, credit card number, take what you want. I'll accept the fine. Inspired, you're popping off.
Completely dominant, that top side. Top jungle, not often the story of LYON. We've talked so much about Berserker and Inspired. It was Saint in the previous game. Dhokla, credit for weathering the storm, but really it is the Inspired and Dhokla show now here in game 2 for a big performance to take us to match point. And so often, we look back at these
Pantheon.
matchups, BrokenBlade on the way and looking to stack the Q3. SkewMond ready to get it kicked off, but they present a response TP. They get Dhokla's flash, and I think that's the most they can hope for. G2 just gonna back away.
Yeah, they really wanted that big bounty. That's 525 gold, so Dhokla just flashed away, made sure that wasn't a disaster, and now they're trying to repush.
I don't think you can hold this turret either. So G2, TP in. LYON commit their resources in response, and now the tier 1 falls. Sonic Wave not gonna turn into a resonating strike. Mind and body saying no on that one.
I will say, at the very least, as we have another engage.
Blade. Immediate ulti, they get the flash out of Hans too. Everything is going in the favor of LYON. I just don't know if G2 are going to be able to contest with all these summoners and ultis just getting chipped away at.
Both teams had the same idea. With the Dragon, you know, was about a minute and 20 seconds away at the time. G2 say, hey, we're going to go for the flash off of Dhokla. We need to get this flash away from Gnar so he doesn't destroy us in the fight. They do that, but then Isle's also finding the flash here now off of Hansama. And the approach for LYON to this Drake is already lit up with that vision.
And it's so important for G2 to be mentally strong in this situation. This has to be so frustrating. All the early plays you tried to make did not work out. Your counter pick is not working out. And we've seen so many NA versus EU 3-0s. G2 do not want to add their name to that list any further. It happened once with FlyQuest, and the momentum in favor of LYON right now seems just a little unstoppable.
Kobe, would there be a reason that Labrov is just sitting on an unupgraded support World Atlas? Because he's had it for a while. There's not some tech. So this happened, like sometimes when you're really locked into something or maybe you're a little tilted, you'll forget to do something like this. But okay, he finally upgraded it. He sat on it for about a minute, which was just a little peculiar to me, but it's completed now, no worries.
All right, he is gonna have that Blood Song, is gonna add that little bit of extra burst damage, and maybe that does make the difference, because Drakos, we've been looking from the very beginning with this comp, are they gonna get one of these bursty plays? And they are congregating around the top side of the map. So they're thinking that LYON is taking Dragon, but LYON are actually up here kind of answering it. Saint does not have teleports though, and he is showing bottom lane.
G2 ready to potentially commit more members to the play, but Dhokla not stepping up, not taking any trades, even if he's ahead of Caps in terms of gold, doesn't want to take the risk, and now LYON instead turning towards the mid lane.
Yeah, LYON just trying to make sure that their efficiency stays high, don't want to give an easy cross-map play to G2, so Saint ends up pushing that wave out, basing once again, and now they will look to take this break this way.
Inspired already starting it. Baron has spawned as well. LYON with a 6K gold lead, taking their sweet time. This is the LYON comfort zone. No pressure on them to do anything on the map. Looking for little advantages, chipping away slowly at G2 in this game, continuing to extend that gold lead, and now denying soul point from G2 as Hans does what he can to use that ulti and just clear out some of these waves, stop some of the pressure coming out of this LYON lineup.
Yeah, even invading the jungle, LYON now trying to take over the safe pathways of rotation between objectives. Dragon taken away, and mid lane, looks like it's going to be the next target here. It's already so low that it's a pretty much one shot, and that's the last of your outer defenses now down for G2. Good smite.
Oh, good smite. Try and turn
Locked
it.
up.
It's huge.
Back under the tower.
It's huge.
Lockup is there. Double knockup coming in from Labrov's ulti. Zenith Blade is there. The Solar Flare does a bit of work, but now it's Doku's locked up, about to turn mini. Caps on the chase. G2 know this is their window to try to force a greater advantage. BrokenBlade on the side, but there's no one there to alley-oop him. No one there to set up the knockup, so they're forced to back away. Happy to have that shutdown.
Really smart smite there by SkewMond. Trapping the Lee Sin under the turret. Does not let Inspired even flash away. They'll get that bounty. Yaz traded one for him. That's way more gold in the favor of G2.
And they were looking to make more out of it, you know, rotating BrokenBlade over, trying to get the chase down. But they will be happy at the very least to get the shutdown. So here it is, going in. The Herald only has 756 health, so SkewMond one-shots the Herald, and then they go in with the CC chain to take down Inspired and get the shutdown onto that Ziggs, which does scale well.
And continues to be able to clear waves. It's always difficult to end the games into a Ziggs. So even if we may not be super confident in Hansama's mage play, he can definitely make this game last a while.
Bot lane Ziggs. The other thing about Mage's bottom lane, you get more gold and you get an extra item space, and that death cap being so close does spell a comeback avenue.
And that multiplier on the AP means that extra item means even more than it might for an AD carry, i.e. the equivalent multiplier, but you get capped with a 100% crit, right? So need to see if Hansama can get there.
Exactly.
It's a tall task, but hey, if you have to stall a game, you highlighted it well, Jatt. A control mage is pretty much the best way to do it.
They'll still have the pick potential from the Pantheon, Yasuo, and Nautilus, but LYON is still going to be pretty comfortable with their position in the game. We just got to see if they're able to close it. The early Drakes that G2 was able to secure just make sure that the game can go quite late game. They have the wave clear, and then they're also greatly delaying the potential soul from LYON. So LYON's going to have to play very well to close this one out.
Yeah, and I think their biggest tool is going to be these side lanes, with Dhokla having this nice advantage over BrokenBlade, of course, with all the focus that Inspired and the rest of LYON have taken towards this Yasuo counter pick and keeping BrokenBlade down does make those side lanes for G2 a lot more difficult to play.
Dhokla. Nice play there
cool
on the wall up. Yeah. Wall up hop there. Now you're at least going to get some plates. Wave immediately going to get deleted. That's Solar Flare. SkewMond waiting for a bit more time. Hasn't been able to pop the Aegis Assault. Can block some of the fall-off damage now. The wind wall there as well.
So this is all during the split push for Caps. Caps is getting gold for G2 on the other side of the map. They're playing 3 lanes at this time, while LYON only playing the 2.
Rob fishing, maybe hoping to catch someone on a sloppy recall. Again, LYON very much grouped up. You highlighted it well. Mid lane the main focus, moving up now towards Caps, or at least maybe just trying to control Baron vision. With a Cassio on the enemy team, a rapid Baron always has to be taken into account.
And I really like the way G2 has been able to stall this game out. And, you know, even if the gold has stayed at 4,000, the percentage of the gold difference decreases as every CS is acquired by G2, so they're not that far behind in items when we do see a fight. I mean, looking at Caps' completed Seraphs, the upgraded Mercury Treads, he's going to be able to pump out a good amount of sustained damage if G2 decide to find a fight.
And again, the Ziggs with the multiplier here, with the death cap done, you take that any day over these nerfed Varus damage here that you do have as a comparison. Even with the spell shield here picked up for Berserker, you can also say, if you find really good value out of the CC of the Varus ultimate, sometimes that can really change team fights there too. So, it's not a one-to-one as far as just comparing the damages, but we'll see at the approach to the next fight if they're able to get some poke damage done as well.
Yeah. Of course, max rank, base damage, still okay on that Varus Q, but as we get later, it is the bonus AD scaling that was hit. Full charge used to be 150% of that bonus AD, now it's only 120. And those numbers start to add up in an extended fight. So often lethality Varus is kind of determined if he can hit those abilities or not. Pantheon coming down under Berserker, immediate Ghostblade to take him away. Saint now following. They're looking for a disengage, but Isles is recommitted to the fight. The miasma there to stop him getting out. BrokenBlade up on the side, trying to make the difference. Windwall to stop any potential follow-up. Now able to retreat as well. An excellent pick for G2. Down goes Isles, but BrokenBlade injured.
And that's with the Drake up right now, so I feel like LYON is potentially going to have to concede the Saint, and Berserker could teleport back in now that Inspired is here, and Dhokla about to hit Gnar.
Dhokla about to hit Mega. Hooked in, wall up there. He's trying to make his way out. They're trying to burn him down so he can't get the ulti. Dhokla being low, the Mega going to fade away. LYON, it looks like, going to back off of this one, willing to concede soul point. They don't want to risk the fight.
G2, huge fast play for them. They get the pick, they see them in the river, they do not hesitate, and they get themselves to Dragon Soul Point. That Mountain Soul Drakos is ever so close.
This is just so well done by G2, using the Pantheon ultimate to create the numbers advantage, and after Saint flashes away, that means Isles is trapped in here, does decide to go back in, potentially should have flashed away, because this is a numbers advantage the entire time for G2.
Exactly, it's all because Inspired was up on the top side of the map for the Lee Sin there, so he was never there, and G2, they choose their moment. They're teleport in at the same time as the Pantheon ultimate. They go for the lockup and calmly get themselves to their win con here. Mountain Soul on the table, getting tense.
That should give G2 a lot of confidence with Soul Point, and just the way that extended fight went. They got the flash out of Dhokla, they got the flash out of Saint, they got the flash out of Isles. So now if they land another hook, or if SkewMond uses his next ultimate timer, maybe they can get that one shot on an important player. And as we said before, the item gap is kind of non-existent in this game.
Yeah, and I think their dream is to one-shot Saint. The Viktor here with no flash had to flash out of the river in the previous one. And with a lot of the flash advantages to the side of G2, they have a lot of playmaking, but there's still a decent amount of time till that dragon. So there is time to work with to try and make side lane picks and try and use a Pantheon ultimate and see if you can fish around for a little bit more before the full commit.
Very playable situation now for G2 Esports. Again, respect still has to be paid to Inspired and Dhokla. Dhokla finishing up that third item, a GA for Inspired. The previous play, you highlighted it well, right? The reason it works out is Dhokla doesn't get to have that dream Gnar moment where you're knocking 4 people into the wall, and that's what can happen if G2 get to start a fight on their terms. But again, with a lot of these side lane threats, with how powerful Dhokla is now, it's difficult for G2 to find those angles without use of that Pantheon ultimate.
Yeah. It's very scary as far as the pick potential. And when you position your Ziggs in mid lane here for Hansama, he's level 16 now, and that ultimate is all that you need to add on top of any of the CC from the Nautilus, from the Pantheon. So you can see LYON are grouping together, trying to move cautiously around that mid lane. They know the potential with all that vision control set up for G2. It is very dangerous.
I mean, LYON has to overload the mid lane just to make something happen to be able to move into the jungle right now. So they've even lost vision on the Baron area. This game is feeling more and more like an even game, just by the way the map is moving and kind of ignoring what we see on the gold.
LYON doing what they can to hold on to mid prio, but again, just the 2 minutes until this potential soul for G2 will spawn. The tension continues to grow as neither team feels like they're in a good spot to force the Baron, but now Pantheon heading bot lane. Dhokla running for his life. Inspired just reset. A tiny window now for G2 as the Mega Inferno Bomb is laid down on top. Dhokla running for his life. Miasma there, now wants to turn it with the Mega Gnar. Hits the wall up onto 1, hoping to find the Gnar, but only connects onto 2. And down goes Dhokla. The shutdown for Caps.
The side lane pick that they were looking for. The Pantheon ult comes in, and Dhokla, no flash. There's no way he can get out of this one. Caps uses his advantage to make sure of it. He flashes forward to make sure they can miasma, and they get the kill ahead of time. Saint has gone to split push during that time, though. They tried to get something cross-map. He gets the minion wave at the very least up to the top tower.
G2, though, going to take control of this Baron area. Dhokla's still dead for another 30 seconds, and Cassiopeia kills Baron so fast.
G2 hiding in the darkness. You can see LYON don't have the best vision set up. You highlighted it well. The Cassio tearing through the Baron, but Inspired. Can he take the 50-50? Will G2 take the risk? More importantly, Berserker ulti connecting onto Labrov. The follow-up, not quite going to connect on Hansama. Labrov getting lower. Sonic Wave connecting. Resonating Stroke on the way in. The flash, they spotted Saint. The instantaneous Zanya's the Seeker, keeping him standing. Hansama's blinking health bar being zoned away now. Inspired looking for the follow. Ready to ward hop over the wall. Ready to turn it back. But Hansama still lives for an extra moment. Burning down Isles. Not quite able to finish it. Whoa! A disaster of a satchel charge. Turns into 2 for LYON. SkewMond and Caps, the last one's left standing, but this fight, it's all LYON. The triple for Saint.
Saint and Inspired come up clutch. The Viktor gets the early kills, teleports in behind him, but it is Inspired with his fearlessness chasing them down.
I think that is just so well communicated from LYON. They call for the Varus ult into the Leona ult to buy time for Saint to get there. They CC chain the Nautilus and delay until Saint can get there over the wall, the Viktor ultimate, and he was ready with his Zonias.
LYON looking to finish it here. Don't want to give any more time to G2 Esports. G2 might have taken down the back-to-back world champions, but they're on the cusp of losing back-to-back games against the best in the LCS.
We've already seen on a reverse sweep here from G2. They'll have to do it again. Azael, when you're up though, right?